Guys, welcome back. Thanks again for all the views and subscriptions. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed yet and you found this video, go ahead and subscribe now. This video, we're just going to go over some of the things I learned while installing the plumbing in my house and what to consider when weighing your options to buy a pump. If you do need to buy a water pump, you don't just have the city pipe providing the water pressure through your house. So I'll try to make this a quick video. The last one went a bit longer than I'd hoped, so let's get to it. First thing I think when I think of installing piping is the drainage or the sewer pipes, and a lot of times those will be underground, so you have to dig a trench to lay those. And obviously you don't just want a flat horizontal pipe because you need the gravity to carry that water and waste through the pipe into your septic or to the sewer, wherever that water is going to go. And the general guideline for the drop of the pipe is a 1/4 inch per foot, or 1 centimeter for every 40 centimeters. So for every 1 foot of pipe length, you want it to drop a 1/4 of an inch. The easiest way to do that is just by using a level. So on your level, you have the bubble that sits right in between those two lines. And if you get your bubble just about a quarter of the bubble outside of that line, that's about a 1/4 of an inch per foot slope. So what I did, I just got a 6-foot level and just kind of set it along my pipe all the way down and check. 1/4 inch is the general rule of thumb, but it can be up to a 1/2 inch as long as your pipe's not more than 50 feet long that you need to run. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but you don't want it really steep or steeper than that, because if it is steeper than that, then the waste won't get carried out with the water. The water will just rush down the pipe and leave the waste behind. So that's why you don't want to go at a really steep slope. You want to keep it to just that 1/4 of an inch. And then the other piping obviously is your pipes that carry the water around the house, your water pipes. And like I said, if you need to get your own pump to pump the water around, the two things to consider when buying a pump is the suction pressure. So how deep the pipe goes into your pit of water, whatever it is, a well or a tank or a pit, wherever you store your water. The height from the surface of the water to your pump, that's the distance of suction you need. And you have to look on the manufacturer's guidelines what diameter pipe that is, because obviously you won't get the same amount of suction through a 4-inch pipe as you would a 1-inch pipe. And then the other important thing you want to consider is the head pressure, or the height of the pump, the amount of water it can pump to a certain height. And also that will decrease again through the what diameter pipe you use. So if you use a 1/2 inch pipe, you're going to be able to pump water a lot higher versus a 2-inch pipe, because the weight of the water going up and up puts a lot more pressure on your pump motor, so you can't pump it as high. And that's just going straight up through a pipe. So if you're not going just directly straight up and then downhill from there, you have to consider the horizontal length, because as you add length to a pipe, you lose water pressure through friction as well. So while the pump's pumping the water through the pipe, as the pipe gets longer and longer, your water pressure decreases. I don't know if you've ever noticed that maybe in your house somewhere. Your hose maybe have really strong water pressure because it happens to be right where your pump is, really close to it. But maybe in your back bathroom, the water pressure is really low, and it took me a while to figure that out, and that is why, because you lose water pressure due to friction through the pipe. So the bigger pipe you can, the bigger diameter of pipe you can use to supply all the water fixtures and faucets and everything in your house, the bigger diameter the better, because you'll lose less due to friction. But also you'll have to buy a bigger pump because, like I said, the weight of the water through those bigger diameter pipes, you need a stronger pump. So it's a bit of a weighing your pros and cons there if you want to buy a bigger pump or pump it farther away. Just depends on your situation. So once you have a pump and you've got all your drains installed, you probably want to get your pipes into your water fixtures and stuff like that. I think I learned as I did the piping here in this house, it's really nice if you can put in shut-off valves along the way. Even you may not think, well, I don't need one, it's just a straight pipe going through nothing. But for now, maybe you want to install another faucet or something along the way, or the pipe breaks. You know, it's just a lot easier if you have a few shut-off valves along the way instead of having to shut off the water to the whole house to just fix one pipe or change one faucet. It's a bit of an inconvenience. And also, if you just add in some extra T's, some extra split-off joints along the way, put in a few T's. Like I said, maybe you don't need them now or you don't think you'll ever need them, but it's a lot easier to cap off a T than to add in a T once your pipe's already there. Because yeah, if your pipe's running a straight length, to get the T onto the joint, you need the pipes to separate a bit. And if your pipe's already screwed in place or buried underground, that's going to be really hard to do, to get that space to get your T joint on there. Also, here it's a lot bigger concern than in most areas because the environment's so humid. It's really salty air. The water also is a little bit salty and very hard water. It's very mineral dense. So what you could do, or what I did, is you can put silicone grease on all the fittings that are metal to metal. So anywhere like two copper pipes screw together, or you screw a water faucet onto the pipe, anywhere that metal contacts metal, if you just coat that with silicone grease, it'll make life a lot easier to get that fitting off and change out your faucet once it's not rusted together. And then the other thing you use a lot is Teflon tape, that kind of white plumber's tape. And I learned as I went. I didn't know and didn't even think it was something to look up. I thought it was just kind of common sense. You wrap it around the threads and screw it on. But actually, if you wrap your tape the same direction as the threads, so when you thread in that fixture, the tape also gets twisted tighter around the threads, instead of if you wrap it the opposite direction when you go to screw in your fixture, it'll unravel the tape and then you'll just get a ball of tape outside the fixture instead of wrapped into those threads to create a good seal. So you want to wrap it along the direction of the threads so it goes in. And also you want to start, so if this is your fixture, you want to start wrapping your tape here a lot thinner and build up to a kind of thicker mass of tape. I'm going to make a cone shape, so when it screws into your pipe, it screws in and then meets that tape and creates a really good seal. Because yeah, if you put a big ball at the beginning, it's probably just going to not screw in all the way. You think it's tight, but it's actually just the tape getting jammed up in the threads and not creating a good seal. So that's why you want to kind of make that cone shape along whatever you're taping. And then when you are cutting your pipe and connecting fixtures and making all these connections and things where the water is going to eventually run through with pressure, it's always nice to just test it as you go. because again, it will be a lot easier to fix that leak or retape something that wasn't done 100% correctly or just not good enough. Maybe even it was defective from the manufacturer. I had a water faucet like that. Screwed it on and basically just kind of split in half under the water pressure. So it looked fine, but yeah, under the pressure, things can break or leak when you wouldn't think they would. So it's always nice to just test it as you go. Definitely test it before you finish the install and cover it up with drywall or anything like that. So that's the last thing you want to do is rip all that down to make an easy fix that could have been prevented. Also, when you're putting in your hot water on sinks and showers and things, kind of the general rule of thumb there is the cold water is always on the right side, and it's not a code or something you have to do. It's just a rule of thumb, because if there's an emergency, most of the people are right-handed. So if they're in an emergency, instincts would tell you to use your right hand and turn on the water. So it would be better to turn on cold water than hot water. And then the last thing, once you get everything installed and you think you're ready to turn on the pump and start using all those things you installed, purge all your pipes before you put on the shower heads or faucet heads, just anything where it has that fine mesh screen that's going to filter out anything trapped in those pipes, even the PVC glue, because you don't want to clog up a brand new fixture with glue and sand and dirt. I don't know, maybe even your pipe was really dusty from the warehouse. You just never know what could be inside those pipes. So just clean all those out before you put on your brand new water fixtures. Most of this I thought was common sense when I was doing it, and then learned there's more to it than meets the eye. So definitely doable, and it is very easy, but it's nice to kind of know some of those pro tips, if you will, before you get started. So I hope you're watching this now before you do your plumbing, unlike me who learned the hard way. So I hope I can save you some headaches, and I'll see you next week. Thanks again.